Welcome back to Daily Discussion. All right, so I'm going to talk about a couple different types of transitions that I made in my life that were very effective, and I found ways to progress through them very efficiently and excel at them, where some people didn't. And that was when I joined the military. So I went from high school to being in high school to being in the military, and just got through boot camp and went to A school, was top of my class in A school, which is the primary school, and then went to secondary school and then went to my first duty station. Well, here's the difference. Just like anybody who goes from high school to college, you kind of start at the bottom, work your way through the top, whatever, and then you go on to your job in the real world. And then once you get there, you realize that everything you've been learning, even though you think you're hot stuff because you just got top of your class, you did really well in the quote unquote schooling parts of all this stuff, you get to that first location, you're like, oh my God, I know absolutely nothing. None of that really mattered. Maybe a small portion of it helped to a certain extent. You kind of understand some of the concepts, but that's about it. You have some theory, but you have no practice. And all of a sudden now you're getting things thrown at you and you're expected to know these things, especially if you walk in there with a little bit of chip on your shoulder, a little bit of attitude like I did, and you get humbled really quickly. Now you have two choices at that point. You can either give up, cry about it, and whine, and then quit, or you can just figure it out and take that humble pie, suck it up, and then figure out a way to then go ahead and be that person you thought you're going to be. And that's what I did. So the group of us that got there at the same time, we struggled at first because it was a whole lot of information and we were used to studying like it was in school. Well, that didn't cut it. That's not how you really study and learn things in real life. So we had to quickly modify our theories and ideas and beliefs about how to learn and wholly change that immediately as soon as we got there. Thankfully, we had a couple of the senior guys that were there that really did actually step in and help us. There were some of them that were not very helpful, and other ones that were very helpful. So thankfully we had that, and then they were able to teach us some of the ways that they went about it, and we very much were sponges and willing to learn because we were all very curious. And most of the group that I got there with then who stuck to that method advanced very quickly. So that was the big transition. And of course, another transition they don't really talk about in the military is when you deploy. A lot of people are prepared for the actual deployment itself, but what they don't talk about is the transition back home. That is actually a very tough transition for most people, and not just the service members. So I'll talk about that more tomorrow. That actually might be a good one to talk about tomorrow and a little bit more in depth. So anyway, just keep that in mind. So when you're talking about transitions, it's not just about healthy lifestyles or anything like that, although those could be included. There are a lot of different types of transitions that a lot of people struggle with. So let me know if this is once again interesting to you. If you want to talk more, reach out, let's have a conversation.